Most of you might be asking, why the hell did they make a Masters of the Universe movie? It's an IP that pretty much, if you were a boomer, you would understand the old cartoon. But why in 2026 did they decide, in a generation filled with superheroes and more newer IPs, they would decide to do the Masters of the Universe? Well, guys, I had that exact same thoughts when it was first announced, but then when the trailer was released, you know what? I thought this actually might be a lot of fun if they were to do these three things. Making sure this movie does not take itself seriously, it'd be campy as hell, and number three, tell us a really fun story, but not too complex. And the best thing I was hoping for when it came to this movie was something very similar to the Dungeons and Dragon movie that was a few years prior. A lot of this movie had those nice aspects. It had the campy feature, it had the comedy, it had the action, and it was really kind of going in a good direction, at least for me. And of course, for some reason, that did not last long because the Masters of the Universe movie decided to do the one thing that I was really hoping it wouldn't do. It took itself seriously. Now, don't get me wrong, the overall movie was fun. I love the characters. I think all the actors did a phenomenal job, but then they took themselves seriously and got all emotional and got all serious and tried to make us feel like we should be connected to these characters. And that's where this movie just loses me through and through, because we would have these really funny gag moments, these really campy moments, because again, it's a movie based on He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, and then all of a sudden we break it down to an alcoholism dad and his daughter where we're trying to have a relationship there, and it just didn't make sense. But that was very much a recurring theme when it came to this movie, is that it again would be very campy and a lot of fun. The jokes would hit really well. They of course did iconic like meme songs that we knew from He-Man, and then they would just hit you with some seriousness, and that is how the film overall went. There would be super comedy, super serious, super comedy, super serious, and I'm like, okay, you're kind of losing the point here for me. But what I will say is that at least the pacing and the storytelling was very consistent. We knew what our mission was, we knew what we were doing, and we continued on within the film. Like, the concept, super easy, super simple, and they just stuck to that. The other problem with this movie that I had is that regardless of maybe a little bit of the camp and also the moments where it was taking itself too seriously, I don't entirely sure if I knew what this movie was trying to be. You would have He-Man make a few jokes, and he would also then try to be serious, but then also try to be the iconic superhero, not superhero, but the iconic hero that we know. And then it would just be like, no way, we're gonna actually not take him seriously because his name is He-Man. So a lot of that just kept happening in the film. Again, not horrible, but it was definitely very distracting in the fact of like, what is going on in this movie? I again would have liked more campiness, and they just did not hone in on the campiness that I truly needed for a He-Man movie. Now, I said this already, again, the actors did a phenomenal job, but I know the biggest question is probably gonna be Jared Leto with Skeletor. A lot of people were really hating on Jared Leto because unfortunately Jared Leto has a reputation to truly ruin films. But I would make the argument that he was actually a highlight in this movie, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed his take on Skeletor. There were some interesting line choices in how he delivered the character, but I think overall he honestly maybe dived in a little bit more into the not taking it serious part because he knew what movie he was in for once, versus everybody else to where they're giving us different levels of emotion slash camp slash we don't really know what kind of movie we're in right now. So overall, Jared Leto, not a movie I think he ruined. Absolutely. I think Jared Leto was actually a stronger character and a stronger performance in this movie. Maybe because we didn't really see his face and we just used his voice. Maybe that's true. I don't know. With the other characters, again, He-Man was fine. He definitely had like some alter ego situation things going on within his character, but it was totally understandable and it was fine. I would say the Man-at-Arms, Idris Elba, I've seen a better performance from him. But again, they were trying to do this weird dad-daughter situation, and he was like a fallen hero and then wanted to become a hero, and then that whole plot line kind of just fell apart, especially when it came to the third act. I would say Camila Mendez, who was playing Tila, she was fine, but she was really one note throughout the entire film, so I didn't really feel connected to her. And anytime she was on scene with Nicholas, who plays He He-Man, I mean, he just stole the show. He just stole the whole thing. What I did like about the movie, though, I think the action was absolutely there. I might have almost wanted more action, but when the fight scenes were going on, He-Man absolutely destroyed and did a fantastic job battling these different like creatures. There is a final fight in this movie with He-Man and Skeletor, and they almost go into like a slow-mo action scene, and it's really awesome and it's really cool. I almost wanted more of that, which I felt like we were kind of robbed, and the fact that this should have happened earlier in the movie or maybe some other point, because that was overall really action packed. So action wise, absolutely awesome. I think the sets were really fun. I would say for a He-Man movie, it was a little darker colored tone than normal. I kind of wanted something a little bit brighter, but near the end of the film, we do see all of them in their classic costumes and everything does brighten up a little bit, which I will say, even though I had some problems with this movie and I did want it specifically to be more campy, the people that I was next to really seemed like they did enjoy this film. Like a lot of my theater enjoyed this film. So I think if you are a casual moviegoer, you're definitely going to enjoy it, and especially if you're a fan of He-Man. Not that I'm not, but there were definitely some people there that really understood the lore a lot better than I did, and I could tell they really thoroughly enjoyed this film, and that is always a great case scenario. So overall recommendation wise, because we love to do this on the channel, I would definitely highly recommend the Masters of the Universe movie. You should not go in thinking it is going to be fully campy, fully funny, and it's not also going to be fully action-packed, fully serious. It's this weird blend that they kind of took two stories and they said, you know what, we're just going to put them together because we don't quite know what direction we want to go in and we're not confident enough. At the end of the day, at least for the movie, once it finished up, I did want a sequel, and I think that could say a lot about a movie. Is if I wanted more within the lore, I'm definitely down for a sequel. I would say maybe save your money and wait until it becomes on streaming service or maybe DVD, to be honest. I don't know if it's necessarily worth going to the theater, but if you're a big He-Man fan, I think you should definitely go see it in theater. Overall score for me when it comes to the Masters of the Universe movie, this one's going to be a tough one because I did expect more camp. I did expect a little bit more fun and jokes. Not that they weren't there, they were, but I really did want more. I wanted the whole movie just to make fun of He-Man more or less, or just have like a lot of fun with itself, because the characters themselves are just hilarious. Like, it's from an old 80s cartoon. For me with this overall film, I think I'm gonna give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Again, it was enjoyable enough. I do want to see a sequel, but it just didn't land the way I wanted it to. I just wanted more comedy out of it, and I wanted it just not to take itself seriously, and it kept trying to feed us little nuggets of seriousness, and you just didn't really feel for these characters, because again, it's a movie about He-Man. What? So I'm saying 6.5 out of 10. I will say it's nice to know that Jared Leto did not ruin another movie, so that is definitely a highlight, and I think his Skeletor was phenomenal. But you guys have to let me know down below if you've seen Masters of the Universe, your thoughts as well. Would you want a sequel? And if you have not already, remember to subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you do not miss a review or other videos. Big shout out to my Patreon members. As always, it's the best way to support me here on the channel. And if you love other reviews, remember to check out this video over here or this video over here. Thank you so much as always. Till next time.